So this is a persona poem. It's loosely based on my grandmother. She told me once that when my dad was heavily involved with drugs and she hadn't heard from him for a while, she would drive on this road just to see if he was there. And she hated to drive this road because she hated to see him if he was there, but it was better than thinking that he was dead. Sometimes when I drive, I look straight ahead. I am not like Fifi and Marie. We all wear pleated skirts, tuck in our blouses, flare our necks with colored scarves, but they never ride the long lean hills of Madison. Instead, they zigzag Howell, Olive, and John, turning back and forth in somber Chevy tangos. I take my caprice, past the corner where men yell and push each other. So many standing, leaning on buildings, red-eyed. I'm looking for my son. I'm looking in the last place. So Chris and Jonathan have influenced my poetry a lot, and Sam Ligon has also, on the way that I think about work and analyze it. So if you don't like it, I think it's their fault. This next one I wrote for Poetry One, and so if you were one of those people who believed that seeing in the future would get you a place in hell, and if you were a person who could see into the future that your daughter was one of those people who could see into the future, what would you do?
Abort her.
She wanted to save me the sky. My first word was north. I knew it would be, but not what it meant until I said it. I said it when I saw a white speck in the blue-black sky. That's when my mother said, "Pack up, it's time we move south," and drove us down to Aberdeen, where the clouds perpetually cover the face of the sky. That winter she announced 4:30, the new magic number, her new bedtime. I knew she knew I shouldn't see the dandelion seed-shaped light. That's when north started multiplying in my dreams, until it undid the dark, undid the night. This was written for painting to poetry, and it was inspired by my sister's painting, Glacial. And if anyone else wrote a poem that was inspired by that painting, I'd love to give them to my sister. She's very curious to see what we wrote. I haven't showed her this one yet. Only a glacier away. You say fungus, I say bloody mushroom. You say stalactites, I say bodied crystals. You're flying to the Arctic Circle again. The plane can't decide to descend, flies in spirals. Don't, I suggest, be so remote with me. Only daddies get silent sprees. Daddy's fungi stubble spreads beyond the bottles under his bed. There's a girl in there. Trundle sister rolls out when winter blushes. When it's lost, it's brushes. One glacier melts. One pushes land through another that sprouts. Walls it will hang for you. So a lot of us teach about logical fallacies. Spread the gospel of logical fallacies. This poem's about that. It's also about pathetic fallacy, which is attributing human traits to non-human forms, and also about pantheism. Pathetic fallacy. The Buddha is not just in the table, but in the tree. So when I write, he doesn't do well under pressure, it makes him lose his lunch. Do you have to insist it's pathetic? What's the matter with fallacy? My mother lives on a slippery slope, and I've been rolling down it my whole life. It's cultural, this lack of logic. The tree can be so much more than a tree, but this time it's just a tree. Isn't chlorophyll just lunch, which the tree loses in the sun's winter affair with its other irresistible hemisphere? This is my last poem. Sometimes I find God very difficult to contact. And so this is an attempt at contacting God. It's also trying to make sense of some mischief that God played. I was really fooled at one time. I was having a love affair with an Indian priest, and somehow I thought he was God. Letter to a silent God. Once you tricked me into thinking you were bald. Your head was so shiny, who else could it be? I wish you tried to trick me now, to touch your belly, round enough to hold the globe. Won't you show me your teeth, too sharp for loving? Say you give up, or my brain is snowed in on an avalanche-packed rabbit hole. Anything. Thanks.